All right, everybody, welcome to the I Disagree podcast. You know, I can honestly say the reason why we've named it I Disagree is because it's two words I believe that have not only changed my life, but we all wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't say I disagree. So here's basically what we stand for. In the past 3 years, there has been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. Here we go. You guys ready for the first one?
You're going to mess up my intro. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the I Disagree podcast. Oh, geez, you guys, you messed me all up. Anyway, my name's Dana. I'm normally a co-host here, but I'm filling in as host tonight since Doc is gone. As you can notice, oh, man, I'm a lot shorter on the screen. We gotta be able to mix that up. I know. I gotta show off my muscles. Oh, whatever. I'll fix it when the camera's off me. But anyway, thank you to everybody who's here online. Please make sure that you are commenting, liking, and subscribing. We don't run ads on the show because we don't want to tell you about a bunch of products that we don't even use, and we don't want anybody telling us what to do. Doc actually fully funds this show all on his own. Oh, thanks, Travis. Travis is fixing the camera. Doc fully funds this show all on his own, and so it would really help us out if you guys would share the show with everybody you know. If you want to be on the I Disagree podcast, please email idp@thewellnessway.com, and we will get back to you about scheduling. If there is any content you want to see us talk about on the I Disagree podcast, please comment below on YouTube, or you can also email idp@thewellnessway.com. Thank you to our guests who are here in-house tonight. We're so glad you guys are taking time on a Tuesday night to come sit and have a conversation with us. And thank you to my co-hosts who are here tonight, too. It's always great spending time with you guys. All right, so let's do introductions right away so that everybody knows who everybody's talking to. I'll go first as our host, and then we'll do our two co-hosts, and then we'll do our two guests. Let's do name, age, marital status, kids, career. If you have a podcast, a business, a product, anything that you want to plug, please make sure you do that here. So my name is Dana. I'm 35 now for the first time on this podcast. I am married. I have two boys who are 6 and 8. I went to school for accounting, and I decided that after 10 years of tax, that really wasn't for me anymore, and I switched over to more of the natural health side. I'm a clinical nutritionist now, and I just have a passion for helping people, especially moms, get healthy in their lives, so that's kind of where that all stemmed from. I started pursuing that a couple of years ago. I also have a social media account called Dana Disagrees, where I basically just support the patriarchy and I disagree with a bunch of stuff going on in culture. And that can be found on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And I obviously help with this podcast now.
So who helped you, who sang happy birthday to you the best during your birthday?
Probably my kids.
I'm looking at a guy who gave you a pretty good happy birthday.
He danced the best for my birthday.
Okay. So changing the words, kind of like we do here. Sometimes you got to make the word right.
I did dance the best.
Yeah, you did. You did. I was trying to give you some props.
You were sexy. All right, sexy man, you can go next.
You know, I realized that every time you do the intro, I never follow any of those guidelines, right?
Nope, I know.
No, never. And it's very disrespectful to the host. And since a woman is hosting, I will follow the guidelines.
A brown woman.
Well, yes. Because you can be whatever you want to be.
I am whatever I want to be.
You're a transformer. You're a Decepticon.
I am.
So, my name is Lorenzo Tomas. My age is, well, I am age fluid. So today I feel 96. My marital status, well, I am a king. So I have quite a few wives. So there you go.
There you go.
Like King Solomon style, are we talking?
Yes, King David, Bathsheba.
Well,
boom,
all right,
boom.
then.
You see, there you go. My dreams. Well, I dream of pickled fences and beautiful ice creams, and they're in the sky making clouds, and those are the things that I dream about. And my fears. I fear that the Earth around us is going to implode in itself, and we will just be in space because we're not going to die. We're all going to pop out before it implodes. Think about that one while you're listening to the intros. And then my podcast is Random Things You Need to Know, which is at YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Gab, Minds. If you are looking for me on Facebook, as Travis was one day, please look up Leonard Mason. That is the name of the Facebook page. That's not my name. That is the name of the Facebook page.
He lent it to you.
Yeah, well, we love Leonard. Thank you, Leonard, whoever you are, Leonard Mason. And then make sure you guys go and check it out. I've been on break for a month and a half because I do not feel like giving you information. I'll give it to you when I feel like giving it to you. So I'm on break, and I'll let you know when new episodes are coming.
Travis, follow that.
Hey everybody, I'm Travis. I will not be that long. I'm 42 years old. I work at the Wellness Way. I wear many hats. I love them all. I am a happily married man of 10 years. In fact, this year, this next month, March, well, no, a month and a half, I should say, we will be 11 years, and I'm very excited about that. So the new exciting thing is that we are doing potentially here in the next few weeks a podcast where it would involve me having my own page to help people with weight loss and just kind of, we haven't formulated all of that yet, but it's in the works, and I'm excited about it because I'm full of piss and vinegar and ready to help inspire a lot of people that want help.
Yes, you are.
That's awesome.
Carrie.
My name is Carrie Byrne. I am 34. I am married. I have 3 kids. I have to really think about this. My career is I'm a costing analyst for a dairy company in Appleton. And my plug is I'm just starting up a candle making business with essential oils. I make it with beeswax and essential oil not fragrance, because that's a bad word, but essential oils. So.
Yes, awesome. Go ahead, Skip.
I'm Skip Weiss. People usually know me as Dr. Skip, the Bowtie Chiro. I've been in practice here in Green Bay for over 16 years. My wife and I have a podcast called The Prime Podcast. It was one time the Prime Pediatric Podcast. I'm a pediatric certified chiropractor. I'm also certified in pregnancy. I love taking care of people. My wife is a business coach. I'm a business coach, a serial entrepreneur, investor, just heavily involved in our community here in Green Bay. So if you need any questions, need anything, reach out to me. You definitely can. You can come check out our podcast. It airs every Tuesday. I love this show, and I love Dr. Patrick and this whole group, so I can't wait to get on here and talk again with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, this whole podcast started with the 2 words, I disagree, because they have been a catalyst in Dr. Patrick Flynn's life. And so we've just wanted to take that and bring it to an even bigger platform and invite other people to come to the table and sit and talk about the things that are going on in culture, because we all know that the best way to change culture is to gather people and to actually talk about it and see what people think and realize that we disagree and we agree, and they're all for different reasons, but we actually can end up coming together a whole lot of the time. And so before this podcast even started, Doc and I were sitting around talking about what our vision for it was, what we wanted it to be, and what we wanted it to look like, and we wrote this down. In the past 4 years, there have been more disagreements, controversies, opinions, ideas, failed expectations, character reveals, surprises, disappointments, lies, beliefs, assumptions, and bullshit than ever before. And the purpose of the I Disagree podcast is to correlate with Doc's Saturday morning show called A Different Perspective on topics related to health, men and women, politics, and religion. Now, before we get going, we always make a point on the I Disagree podcast to talk about the difference between rules and exceptions. So here on the podcast, we tend to focus on the general rules of something, because whenever you're having conversations with someone, whether you agree or disagree with them, they tend to want to go to all the exceptions to something. And we want to focus on the general rules, not because exceptions aren't important, but we think it's more important to start hashing out general rules first before we move on to exceptions. Because if we can agree on the rule, the exceptions can often just fall into place. All right? Okay, so here is how the game is played. I'm going to make a statement that I agree with, and everybody will get a chance to go around the table and say 2 words. You get to say, I agree, or I disagree. And then we'll go around the table again, and everybody gets to explain why they agree and disagree, and then we'll have some more conversation about it. All right? All right. I will say the statement twice. All right. A man's mission comes before his woman. A man's mission comes before his woman. All right, so 2 words. I agree or I disagree. Carrie, you can go ahead.
I agree.
Skip.
I agree.
All right. Larry.
I agree.
Oh, I didn't know which way you were going to go. I didn't know if you were going to agree, if you're going to disagree for fun. Travis.
Agree.
Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully we have some disagreements on why we agree, because that would just make it a little bit more spicy. But then again, remember that even when we agree around the table, we are largely countercultural here at the I Disagree podcast, and we just disagree with what's going on in the mainstream in general. So, Carrie, why don't you go first, and why don't you tell us why you agree with the statement?
So I agree with the statement because I feel like a man should be providing for his family in majority. And speaking from personal experience, it would be really awesome if my husband, not saying he doesn't, but just in general, if a husband would focus on their mission, because it would take a lot less or a lot more pressure off of the wife being or having to provide for their family. So like right now, I'm like the main provider for our family, and it's very stressful sometimes. And I know my husband's working on his mission to become an electrician. He's going to be taking the journeyman's test and all of that. So I feel like that for me, for him, is above like anything focusing on me, because I want him to do that. I want him to focus on making more money for sure and being happy, because I feel like if a man doesn't have a mission or a purpose, he's just not happy, and that makes our relationship fail.
Right.
So,
Right. Very good. Skip, go ahead.
Man's mission in general needs to come ahead of his wife and ahead of his family, because it has to involve what he wants. A lot of men are, in this day and age, are just really friggin' lost. And they don't know what they want, or they've been pushed and pulled in so many different directions, they don't understand what's stimulating them anymore. And what they realize further on in life, and I find this, young men are rarely often driven. You know, they're driven by women, which then becomes their primary focus, and then they want to please the woman. But what they don't understand is that if they don't take this the wrong direction, if they work on pleasing themselves, the women will follow. You know, I look at Julie and I's relationship early on. I was super, super driven, so she was naturally wanting to be around me more and do things. And then later on in life, I lost my direction for a little while and then regained it. And I will tell you that the dynamic in our household changes depending on what I'm focused on, where my mission is. If my mission is constantly trying to just make my wife happy, everybody's fucking miserable.
Right.
Because she is wondering what the hell I'm doing and where am I going and where is my direction. And men's natural born tendency is to be a leader. It's not to be a follower. Men are meant to, and if you look at a hunter-gatherer society, men are meant to lead and defend and work with the tribe. The women are then provided in survival skills, hence why communication in women is usually much higher than it is in men. That you're who kept us alive.
Right.
Okay, we got the shit, and you keep us alive and keep us from dying from plague and shit like that. So men's mission is huge. It has to be above the woman. It has to be above the family. Because if he's going to be the sole provider, or in your case too, like your husband's going to get his journeyman's license, when he has that done, he will make more money than you, because electricians make really good money right now. So he's on a mission to help, which is really awesome to see, because there's a lot of guys who's not. There's a lot of guys who just want to sit in their damn basement, watch porn on Pornhub, or log into their freaking OnlyFans account, and that's where their stimulation is. But if they would just focus on themselves and realize that that can actually be a real woman and not just some fake chick, and learn how to actually communicate and be driven, they would find their life is so much better.
Right.
It has to happen that way. Otherwise, society's screwed. You know, you see this massive push in the last few years of what you would call an alpha female. Well, why? Why does there have to be an alpha female in a pack? Like usually that's a beta. The alpha is the male in a pack that's leading the group, right? And then the woman, the highest woman, is the beta. So she's going to run with the omega or the alpha, right?
Right.
It's the same thing in human development and how we've come along as a society and how we've been created. We were created first. Our mission is to lead.
It's good. It's very good.
Very good.
Lorenzo.
I agree. The men are supposed to be not even the head of the household, right? The foundation for the house, which means that everything starts with him, right? If a man is not doing that, then we end up with the situation that we have today, where we have so many households being led by women. And in the words of Shahrazad Ali, who talked about Message to the Black Woman in 1992, she said, all you women are out there saying, and I'm just going to say all women at this point, so this could be the message to every woman, all of you. The message is, you all, you're looking at your households, you're saying, my household is fucked up, and it's because of this man is not here. If that man is not there, then somebody is directing that house, and it's not him, so it must be you. So if you're looking at how fucked up the household is, you should take a step back and look at how fucked up you are. And primarily this is happening because we don't have men leading the houses anymore. It's 100% women. It's happening. This is the push that they would like for, well, let me take that back. Not they, but that a group of some people would like for us to have. I think that it's on purpose. Either way, this is very true. The man's mission comes before the woman. Once he has his mission complete, or he even is in the right direction to complete his mission, then that woman will come along. She should provide your 3 S's.
Sexy, supportive, and serene.
There you go. Boom. And then everything will fall into place with the children and then his lifestyle. And as you said, you're going to fall out of drive. I saw it with my father. He fell out of drive. He had to figure out something else with life. He started doing that. It's the same thing. It never makes a difference. It doesn't change from race to generation. It's the same thing. The man is the foundation for the house. The woman is the head of the household. Everything functions once that man is on his right path and has the right mission going. Period.
Good. Travis.
This is exciting. I've always wanted to give a free plug for feminism. This is great. I just want to thank you guys for really doing your part for society by making things so just transparently perfect. It just, I don't even know. This isn't even a discussion we're talking about. Feminism didn't hurt anything, right? I mean, every woman wants to go to work to feel free and go home and feel like a slave when they have to make their husband a sandwich. I mean, what a life to live. What a wonderful thing. I don't even understand why this is an argument.
Preach.
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, they got this figured out. But back to seriousness, here's the real deal.
I feel like, what are you doing? Yeah. It's not even natural coming out.
I know. I can't even fake it. Here's the deal. Feminism now, thanks to a few sick people many, many, many decades ago, now you have to work. Unless you're a top percenter, a lot of women have to work. You don't even have that choice anymore. So there's a problem. There's a little loophole or a little glitch in the system in the matrix because now women can't even really support their husbands properly because they got their own full-time job. But you're free. You're free. You got your 50 hours, working your 9 to 5 plus whatever. You're free. Congratulations. Be careful who you vote in. My point is this. Your focus should be on, the exception should be a woman wants to work or maybe part-time. She should have that freedom. But what she should be doing is supporting her husband who should be able to afford to support the family on his own. We don't have that no more. And like I said, unless you are a top percenter, you need 2 jobs. We don't have that option anymore. We've taken away the privilege, and we did it with open arms, thinking we are making women better. We're not. We're making their hormones worse. And I'm not talking to the exception, I just met you recently, but Dana, I know you're one of the exceptions. You work hard, you grind, it's going good for you. That's awesome. Not everyone's that way.
Right.
And they don't have that choice. Now they got to go find that job at Walmart. They even call you back. I don't, whatever. You've lost so many options because we supported feminism. And now you can't support your husband like you want to, but you should be. You should be getting back to the 3 S's: sexy, serene, and supportive. And by having your own life, your own dream and focus, you've lost the supportive because you don't have the energy when you get home. And this isn't just, my wife is supportive as all get out. But I can tell you right now, I talk to people all the time. They go home and it's another war. It's just another battle because they're internalizing things too. So tell me, should we be supporting our husbands? I agree. We need to be.
So glad feminism was created so that men and women could be equal, and and then women can just get erased from history, and basically just means the patriarchy's still winning. So there's that.
And by signing all the laws into place with that, all those things, guess it's like their bench press already equals mine. They can already, lift and do pull-ups and you know what? They're starting to open doors for me now. I'm pulling a Larry here. I'm getting really sarcastic over here. It's great.
I love it. I know.
I'll
He's
tell you
rubbing off
this.
on you.
Start the car for me today if you could,
I
please.
think the best thing that feminism has done has made it so that you can punch a fucking talking shit bitch in the face. That's what I like the most about it. I can treat you like a man. I feel like I punch a man in the face for talking shit. I'll punch you in the face for talking shit. Hey, equal rights. It's only equal.
It's true.
I love it. Call your husband.
How dare her hurt your hand?
Call your husband.
Oh man, you guys. Well, I always love to talk about men and women and relationships and like that whole dynamic, which is why statements like this are always centered around, when I'm hosting, because I pretty much talk about on every podcast how the core of the masculine is his mission. right? It's direction and clarity, and that's what ultimately, it's freedom that he wants to pursue. And part of that is living in his mission and doing that every single day. On the flip side of that, there's the feminine, and the core of the feminine is energy and radiance, which is ultimately love. And that's why women more so focus on relationships. I'm saying masculine and feminine, and I'm saying men and women, like as if they're interchangeable. They're not always interchangeable, but for purposes of today, I'll probably be using them interchangeably. But you know, the core of the masculine is the mission, and the core of the feminine is the relationship. And I talk about this idea of polarity, and polarity isn't like a bad thing. It's this good thing of these complementary opposites. The strong man, Skip, you were kind of talking about this, the strong man, he will polarize the woman in a good way so that she can relax in the feminine and just be those 3 S's that she really needs to be for him. And when, kind of like what you were talking about, and when the man kind of starts to lose his purpose or lose his sense of freedom or lose what his mission is, that really worries the feminine. And then the feminine starts to become more masculine. And so that's what we're seeing in society all the time. It's all these women stepping into more of these masculine roles. And that doesn't just mean that they have a career or go to work or anything like that. It means that they're maybe taking over finances in the home. Not that women can't, do that, but it's largely always been, men bringing home, or men being the breadwinners. And so we're just seeing this like very interesting flip in dynamic that's going on, which I could go into nutrition for that. I could go into TV programming and everything, for that. But it's just like what we're seeing. And I always think it's so interesting. And I want to talk about it because the people here, like you guys understand this concept, but I think a lot of people out there maybe don't always, because, right, it's all this women's rights thing. It's all this like, yes, girl, you can do anything, kind of thing all the time that we see on social media. And yeah, sure, you can do anything you want, but there's like a little bit of a price to that. And what is that price? And
you're going to lose your freedom.
Yeah.
Like it's something very, very interesting to look at, is that, so as we look at it from a societal standpoint, we see more gay, lesbian, and transgender people than we've ever had in civilization, literally in civilization. Yes, there used to be gay orgies and shit all the way back to Greek times, and the pedophiles have been around for centuries. Yes, there are some really messed up, evil people out there. Let's just get that straight. But as the male becomes more feminine and females have to take on a dominant role, that's why you're seeing feminine females being attracted to dominant females. Same thing with men. You'll see feminine men attracted to dominant men. The reason why is because there has been a complete gender flip. And that's not okay in society, because what's happened then is that literally what will happen is we will lose our ability to procreate.
Yes.
And society as itself will change. You've seen it in Japan. You've seen it in China. Japan's a big one. Japan, the amount of marriage happening in Japan is minimal. In fact, elders in Japan are worried that they will actually lose 2 to 3 generations, if not be completely bred off the planet, because nobody's getting married. In the United States, we are at an all-time high of single male and females that are not dating. I see numerous women in our clinic that are single, wonderful women, like fantastic women, great, but they're domesticated. That's what they'll say, is like, that's a domesticated woman. Why? Because she wants to have a family, have a man in her life that provides, have a man that leads, not makes her stay at home, but gives her a choice as to what she wants to do. And that's not attractive to most men. Or you're going to see the other side of it is where men are looking for women like that, but they can't find them.
Right.
And the standards have become really, really high. Really high. Most women want a guy over 6 foot tall. They want a guy over 6 foot tall, okay, 10% of the population, 20% of the population. Then they want a guy who's white, well, okay, or they want a guy who's black, or they want an Asian guy. And then they want a guy that has a beard and a six-pack. Well, you keep going down and down and down and down the line.
And money.
But some of those dudes aren't driven. If you find the right driven person, it instantly becomes attractive. That's why you will find a lot of females will say, it's his humor, it's his drive. Generally, men who are extremely humorous and funny and have a great time actually have a very good drive and are very masculine, and they're and very masculine because they find humor in everything, and they're freaking educated. Like, most of the time, funny people aren't unintelligent. People that are extremely funny are extremely intelligent. And when you find men that are like that, women are attracted to them. Why? Because of the intelligence factor.
Right. Yeah.
What a
immediately.
wonderful way to control the population. Just
It really is.
this don't work. This don't work. Just pop on what you call porn tube, whatever,
hub.
and you can just start watching whatever you
things.
want, unlimited. Why not? You don't even have to try anymore. Just stay home or poke your best friend. You know what I mean? That's all you got to do, and that's sad. And you have to wonder if there is some sort of population control thing going on. I'm sorry. What else does the government benefit from people being gay and splitting up the nation, trying to split them up?
Massively divided.
Yep, and being okay with porn tube, and all these things, and why would they be okay with it? And I guarantee you, the guys are watching all those things too, and now they have standards.
They do.
And now that girl can't meet an imperfect standard from an actor who is who knows where she's from and drugged up with, and
Right.
And now you can take this angle in the whole thing and just go, you know what? Now you're at a disadvantage if you're a woman, because now I have expectations based on what I saw on that website.
Right.
Where does that end? And it's like, next thing you know, we're a couple generations behind, and we're shrinking.
Well, and you'll look at any sort of, and I'd love to hear you guys chime in on this, because we look at psychologists and psychiatrists talking about pornography and how it's completely changed the way that men view women and women view men. Because just as much as you see female porn out there, you see men out there as well. But the thing that's inundating is that all of these reels and different things that pop up on your phone nonstop are the 1% of the 1% of females that have the shapely figures that aren't even natural constantly being put in your face. So then that becomes a commonality, not a normality, but a commonality. And commonalities are dangerous. Commonalities become, in your head, it starts changing your psychology that all women should look like that, all men should look like that. And that's not the case at all. So what's happened then is the degree of stimulation is completely changed. And then if you want some unstimulated fool that's sitting and looking at a monitor all day, how easy is it to take over a country of a bunch of unstimulated fools? It's really easy, and it's incredibly fast. It's incredibly fast, and that's the thing is we saw it happen in 2020. You saw it happen.
Yep.
You witnessed it in front of your own very eyes of people that were completely plugged in. And so what happened? They stayed plugged in to bullshit. And the day I got put on the news to talk about the coronavirus in Green Bay, the governor locked our state down that day. I had no idea. I had a full day of patients, left the office at 4:45 to be on the 5 o'clock news and 5:30 news. I was reported to my board that I was in violation of my degree because I told people to get outside and get sunshine, walk, exercise, and take vitamins and get their nervous systems checked.
How dare you?
Everyone was plugged in.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is because that was reported and it was recorded, it's easy to send that into the board and be like, this is exactly what I said.
Aren't you supposed to, as a doctor, aren't you supposed to give the truth?
You're supposed to give your
you
truth.
give an oath, right?
Yes.
So
no
you
harm.
did your job, and now you're penalized for it.
Sure, and it
That's
happens
sweet.
a lot. It happens a lot, but people are plugged in, and then they just let it inundate. And, yeah, it's really, really sad. So the reality is different.
Right. And AI isn't helping with that either, because now you have all those Instagram AI models, and I know about them because my Instagram thinks that I am like an alpha male, and it's constantly only sends me the exact women that you're talking about. It's only the perfectly shaped, not real women. That's the only thing I see in my Instagram. That and
I mean, and realistically, it's always been this way, though, right? So it's always been this process of making the public believe, or making men especially believe in this idea of what the woman should be, right? So at one point in time, I mean, I'm 40, so I remember when Rump Shaker came out by Rex and Effect. Yep. If you go and watch that video, there is no Kim Kardashian butts in that video. There is not one Kim Kardashian butt. It is like little booties. Booties are a little bit bigger than white girl booties, but at that time, white girls were looking like real flat, like boards, right?
Yeah.
So it was tits, right? So skinny, big tits for white women, curvy, skinny, black women, right? Go look at the show Martin, right? Gina and Pam were considered attractive. They're not huge-breasted. They're not these big women. They're small women, and they're shapely. They're in shape. They're actually in good part. They look healthy. They look like they work out. Now it's it's like as we went from Kim Kardashian, which isn't even fat, right, to then Nicki Minaj, who was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then it got larger and larger to now to where Body Positive was able to come in. Like, yeah, now Lizzo, who I've always said, this person is not confident in themselves. This is the entertainment industry pumping false confidence into her. She's sad. She wants to lose weight. They're telling her, no, remain this way. And this is what we have now. So this is also creating this, and I agree with you with the whole porn thing, because now it makes young men feel like the only woman that matters is the woman who, one, if you're going to be fat as hell, you better be dropping down immediately if you fat as hell. Because on the porn, the big fat girl came in, half naked, titty just fell out, she dropped down. So you better be that. Simple and plain. You better be that.
Fit the role.
Yeah, you gotta fit the role, because I'm not wasting no time.
Roles.
I'm not wasting I'm not wasting no time with your roles. See that? You gotta fit the
Yep.
role. I'm not wasting
Yep.
time with your roles.
Yeah,
Unless
there
the
you
rolls
go.
got butter on them and they coming out the oven.
Oh.
But
Amazing.
nobody is playing around. 100%. The white girls all need to have big breasts, these curvy butts that are like, where did you all get these bodies from? Aren't you all Slavic and Russian and shit?
Well, that's the thing is culturally, and we're.
They're getting work done.
If you think
Right.
about where we actually came from
Right.
in the world, that's not normal build.
Exactly.
It's not normal build.
No, not
You know-
at all.
You know what? You're right. I just had a flashback, and if anyone is 40 or older, you might know this. Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought
I said
I
Saved
thought
by the
Lisa
Bell in my
Turtle,
head. Yeah,
Lisa
Lisa
Turtle,
Turtle.
Jesse
Lisa
Spano, Kelly
Yep.
Kapowski.
Oh, man. Yep.
None of them had these tiggle bitties and a big old
Uh-huh.
booty or whatever,
Yeah.
and like they're just pretty girls,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're pretty in their own
Topanga from
features.
Boy Meets World.
Yep.
Well, she
Like,
she
yep.
had
Super-
she was pretty busted.
Wait, but
Yep.
here's the thing though. So think about it for a second.
She was. I know. I
how-
love Boy Meets World.
She could be in the parade.
Do you see how? But do you see how we changed from they're telling us what to be attracted to,
Right.
versus I just think you're pretty. I
Right.
thought all three of those girls were pretty. I remember each season I thought I liked Jessie then she went crazy having the caffeine pills. I'm so excited.
There's
Okay,
no
you're
hope
dumb.
with
Okay,
Joe.
all right, we're going
That's
to try Lisa
right.
Turtle, right?
That's right.
Oh, but well, if the nerd Screech likes her, maybe I should Kelly Kapowski, Zach. You know, I just you go through this little dramatic circle, you know, in your world. And none of them had anything to do with the Kardashians or the Nicki Minaj. Like they don't have that.
Well, I mean, and then even now, like I'm a hip hop enthusiast. Sure. I'm just looking at all these women who rap now, and I'm like, they all look the same. They all are light skinned, big fake lips, perky breasts. I'm assuming that they're young. I don't know. They could be work, and then they all have butts like strippers. And that's the thing. Everybody has to look like a stripper. I had said this years ago. I said it's very interesting how women's fashion, this was like 2011. So I find it interesting how women now wear shoes, platform high heels, that look like hookers and what strippers would wear. But they wear them out to the club. These young women will come out in nothing but like a glove on, right? And then they'll be like, don't look at me.
In the tight leather pants.
Or the skirt that's here. All I'm seeing, you bend over, I see coochie lips. So it's like you talking to me twice, and you mad at me because I'm trying to answer. This is ridiculous talk. But this is what these women are wearing, and then there's this. What am I supposed to think when you come out? Right? You dress like the hookers. What am I supposed to think? The music tells you to dance like a stripper. It tells you to do. Lil Wayne told you what to do, right? He said put the dope in the purse and then drop down, right? That's what he said. So what's the problem? What am I missing here? So I agree with you. All these young boys, they have a false vision of what is real, and the women too, because everybody's got to look like, you know, me and Travis. That shit's not gonna happen. You know, Travis is married. You're gonna have to find me. So
I personally believe like Lil Wayne's a plant. Like he's been planted into society, brainwashed, and basically told what to say, do, and right. And I hope maybe he'll pop off at me because he's a Green Bay fan. That'd be hilarious. But he's a plant because his rap music has changed. If you listen to how he first came on the scene, and you know he's bopping around with Cash Money, and he's a back man. He's not a front man. He's not. I've known hip hop. Most people don't know that. I've known hip hop my entire life.
So you know what? We should have a whole different discussion about that, because I can tell you right now, there's a reason why he's changed. There's a reason why.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Why he's changed throughout the years since '94.
Since '94.
Why he's changed.
Yep. Yeah, you can see it, and you can see how all these guys change, and it's the same thing. You see it with Travis Scott. that guy is the devil. Like it's incredible to see, and he ain't afraid to say it. He just flat out hold demonic concerts. Like that's insane to go and do a concert.
Yeah, they're
Travis Scott to
even-
go and do a concert on an upside down cross. And welcome, like they enter in through Hell's Gates to come into his concert.
Yeah.
And he ain't got a problem with it.
Well, see that's another thing.
sad.
I think, we said this on here before, talking about religion. I also think that that's another issue with men's drive, right? Men's drive, and I'm not a religious person. I believe that a lot of people are buying into the occult and don't know what they're buying into. They're buying into these esoteric Luciferian ideas, and they don't know. They don't know this. They don't know what they're following. And the artists are being told, yeah, just do this. Just do this type of imagery. They don't know themselves. It's kind of like the politicians, like how we had the conversation about, are the politicians evil? And I said, no, because most of them are stupid. So you can't be evil and dumb at the same time, right? You got to be one or the other. Dr. Khan was going to get Inspector Gadget. He just couldn't figure it out. He was smart. He wasn't stupid. Shredder just couldn't get those turtles. He was smart.
Oh.
And
Bring back the childhood. Bring back the childhood here.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is,
Yep.
I think that this is another thing, because the focus is not on work. The focus is not on family. The focus is not on community. The focus is not on salvation or religion. The focus is not on anything more but, what does that guy have? How did that guy get that chick? Like, one of the things I find interesting, you go into a Reddit post, and it'll be models. Like, they'll have these model women, right? Now, I mean, I got a buddy, once again, Kels. Shout out to Kels.
Hey, Kels.
You know,
Hey,
shout out to
Kels.
Kels. Kels and I have had a very interesting life. Kels and I have recently been having this conversation about, do we think that in all of our years, there are a lot of men who have had the same experiences that we have had with women? And I said, no. I really think that we have had these very unique experiences that a small few amount of men have had, and with the type of women that we've had them with. He thinks, I don't know. But I've always told him, this is the thing. Men, there's a lane that everybody should be in. I personally think if you are an unattractive woman and you look at yourself, you know you're unattractive. Stop trying to live up to the standard that E has told you. Go and get this sexy Tyrese or Tyson Beckford looking dude. That motherfucker don't want you, and you know that. So go and get the guy who suits you best. Now, if you know that you are an enabler and that's what you want to do, you want to be a mommy to a little boy, man, there's like 3 prisons around here. If you wait at 11 o'clock, they let them motherfuckers out. Scoop 2, right? Take them to lunch. Interview them. What were you in for? What were you in for? Oh, okay. Did you get fucked in the butt in jail? Did you? Oh, you didn't. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. You like it? You don't? You know what? You seem a little bit more sensitive than him. I'm gonna go with you. Make your decision then, and take care of the guy who you chose. And don't complain when he's sitting on the couch. Don't complain when he's not working. Don't complain. Just let this be, because this is who you chose. Same thing with these men. If you know that you are looking like you are 9 months pregnant because you have been drinking nothing but Busch Light for the past 3 years, you've been working at your job at Walmart, you ain't got no ambition, no drive to do anything but get #1 on Call of Duty. You fucking did it, bro. Man, then you should expect to not have Luna Star. You should not expect to have Amira Styles. You should not expect to have these porn chicks. You should expect to have the fat girl down the street who's dating the guy who just got out of jail. Why y'all not getting together?
But what if he steals her cornbread?
What do you mean?
Cornbread.
Oh, cornbread.
Is that a jail thing?
Yeah, it's a jail thing. He's come out of jail, like he's stealing your food at lunch.
Oh, okay. He thought it was a black person thing.
No.
He's like, where are
I would have
we
said
going?
something
Where
like grape
are we
soda or
going
chicken or
with
something.
this?
I don't know.
See, next month. Watch. You're not gonna be able to do it.
I'm gonna make you chicken sandwich. I'm gonna bring you
We're gonna have some grape soda.
Some
sitting
grape
at the table,
stevia
too.
right
chicken
here.
sandwiches or grape
Not me though.
sodas.
Not me. I'm gonna have cream
No
soda.
onions. No onions.
I don't want no chicken sandwiches or grape sodas.
Oh.
You better go get me some fucking hen.
Oh man, you guys. Well, you guys have touched on like a whole lot. I mean, I bring a lot of things back to like control and programming and what's actually going on in culture, because I think that it's intentional that culture is working to make men weak so that they can make women stronger, because if you have weak men and you have strong women, you have a society that's very easy to control, manipulate, and collapse and annihilate at any time that you really want. And part of the control too, I mean, I'll go in my, like health realm for like a hot second here, because we're talking about control and everything always comes down to control, and that even goes for like our food supply. I can't remember if I've talked about this here before, but have you guys ever heard of Pottinger's cats?
Yes.
Well, you have, I know. It's like a chiropractic thing. And so there was this guy, his name was Francis Pottinger, and basically he was studying tuberculosis. It was about like 100 years ago. And he was using cats as his test subjects. And it ended up turning into one of the most well-known nutrition studies that there is out there. And what happened here, what he noticed is he had this group of cats, and he was feeding them milk and he was feeding them meat. And everybody in town figured out what he was doing. They wanted to donate to the cause, so they brought him a bunch more cats. Okay, well, he can't feed them anymore, right? Because he has only so much milk and he has only so much meat. So the local butcher found out what was going on. He gave him like table scraps. Okay, so he kept his cats separate. There's several groups he kept them in, but the two main ones is one of them he had cooked milk and cooked meat, and the other one he had raw milk and he had raw meat. And what he noticed with these cats is how they developed. And the cats who had the cooked milk and the cooked meat, they degenerated pretty quickly, because that's not food that's suitable for cats. And all the cats who had the raw meat and the raw milk, they thrived in life, because that's species specific food. That's what they're actually supposed to be eating. But what he noticed in this is that the cats with the bad food, with the cooked food, they degenerated, right? After a couple generations, they couldn't even reproduce anymore. So fertility was a big thing. Their jaws became a lot smaller. They couldn't balance very well anymore. The females became aggressive and the males became docile. And the whole idea here is this is what is happening in humans. It's just, you could see it in that study faster, because cats reproduce every couple of years. Humans, it takes a whole lot longer for us to reproduce, but we're getting to a point in culture where we are on like the third generation of Pottinger's cats, because what he noticed is that after the third generation, those cats, they couldn't reproduce anymore. Or they were having like stillborns, and it would take 4 generations just to bring that back. So we're seeing the fertility, we're seeing smaller jaws. Like, since when are wisdom teeth a problem? That wasn't a problem 300 years ago. That's a problem now, because now our mouths are too small for our teeth.
We're losing our ability to chew.
Exactly. But the big thing, the takeaway from that is the personalities changed because of how the nutrition changed. The females got aggressive, the males got docile, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. But part of that, just part of that is the nutrition piece that I bring up, because none of us, us, we're probably fine. But lots of people out there, you're not eating the right foods. You're eating McDonald's and Skittles and all of these things that you shouldn't be eating. And that is contributing just to the whole male-female dynamic that we see going on, because high-quality men should be eating high-quality food. And that means high-quality protein. And that means organ meats. Hey, Doc. And that means especially liver. And that means salmon to have the leucine. Hey, Doc.
I love liver.
And eating it in the morning, because that's when protein's most absorbable, and your body is 65% water and then it's 20% protein. So we need to all be focusing on protein. That's my doc hat for the day. But I wanted to bring up the nutrition piece because it's directly relates into what we're doing, and there's a control on our food supply.
There's another side to that. You go ahead and comment. I want to come back to that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. This might take a little bit different. So if you're better than me with your thoughts, I'll go, so you don't forget. But I was just going to say, this whole dynamic, back to the original statement, that actually plays into intimacy, I think. In fact, no, I don't think, I believe. I believe that, if you would have told adults, male adults especially, 100 years ago, that they had to ask their wife, instead of just seducing her like a man's supposed to, like we've done for thousands of years, that we have to ask for permission for sex, and this happens all the time. You hear about it all the time. It's disgusting. It takes the fun out of it. It's ruined. It's something's missing when you do it that way, because women are so entitled now to where we put them up here as society, and it's just causing another imbalance, which is hard for a woman to support a man's vision first, because we keep telling her she's up here, and we're always down here. So there's that element of it too, and I think it's worth at least notating it. So
no, it was a perfect segue, because I was going to talk about intimacy. So you talked about food and diet and all of this, and Dr. Patrick could definitely weigh in on this. But it has actually a lot to do with estrogen dominance in males. And what happens is if you're 25 pounds overweight, you're estrogen dominant male. Okay. So what that means is that the fat cells in your body actually produce estrogen. They're an endocrine gland. They're not just a cell. They're an endocrine tissue. Because of that, most men in society, a lot of them are overweight. So they're going to be estrogen dominant, which means they're going to be more feminine type characteristics, brain structure wise too. And what I found myself, and this is a personal story, I've lost 95 pounds over the course of about 2.5 years and kept it all off. Dana, you've known that.
Congratulations.
And
That's awesome.
but the thing that we have to look at is that my testosterone went up, my sex drives went up, the way I talk and talk to my wife, the whole asking permission thing doesn't really happen anymore. It's more of a cat and mouse game and a lot of fun. And then if you get turned down, it's just the way it is. That's life.
Just go back tomorrow.
Right. We're just gonna try it again tomorrow, right? But the thing is that as I lost weight, I knew my testosterone was changing because of my attractiveness to my wife, how I was finding my wife attractive, how I was performing in the bedroom. Like all of this stuff changed as I lost weight because my testosterone was starting to go back up. I was starting to become more male dominant. It's being controlled through diet. It's being controlled through how we're eating. It's being controlled. And the reason why this is for people being basically subjective. It's the subjugation of society is what's happening. Now, same thing is happening across all society. It's across full cultural norms. Whether you look at black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. In fact, you're seeing more African-American males being extremely overweight. Extremely overweight. Sitting around just not doing shit. Just like most white males as well. And you're seeing this and they're just, dude, I remember when I was a kid, younger, I'd walk down the street and I'd run into some of my friends and they had African-American fathers. And these guys were fucking ripped, just jacked. And you wouldn't talk bad to them. You'd respect them. They demanded a presence. They were present in their household. They were happily married. But these dudes were jacked.
Well, now they're not there. And if they are there, they look like Cleveland
Yeah.
from the Cleveland show.
Exactly. They are like
Yeah,
Cleveland.
they are like
That's
Cleveland,
exactly
yeah.
it. And then
They're just,
that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
And then they're all seen as stupid.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I see it too in my son. So as he gains weight, he becomes more emotional.
Yep.
Things that used to never bother him do bother him. When I look at him, I'm like, bro, take the trash out. And he looks at me funny. I'm like, take the trash out. Like, that's your job. And then now, because he's lost some weight again, there was a time period where he was a little overweight. His emotions were crazy high. Like 3 times, and he'd start crying. I'm like, what are you crying about?
Yeah.
But then as I see him get taller and lose his weight and change his fat distribution in his body, his emotions change again. And then he becomes more tolerant to saying, hey, man, take the trash out. Okay, Dad. Like, none of that thing sets him back. So it's just something for you to think about, and people that listen to this, like, most of your men that are in really good shape, most other men, if they're not used to talking to somebody like that, he'll come off as a dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be like, well, that guy's a jerk.
Yep.
I'm like, no, he's just very confident in who he is, and he's testosterone dominant. So, like,
He's normal.
yeah. You ever been in college in the gym full of guys lifting weights?
Right.
Like, we're all very blunt and straight with each other and having a good time and laughing. But, like, you're getting past stuff, too.
Right.
Emotions don't take a toll.
Right.
Right. Yeah,
Playing off
exactly.
of that too. So I feel like yes, their testosterone goes up, and I also find him way more attractive if he's in really good shape, right? And so then my sex drive goes up because I'm seeing that he looks a lot better.
Yep.
So then your sex life is so much better.
But the hormone quality back and forth is different. The pheromone transfer, the smell, everything that you can't pick up on that you are inherently driven and designed to have changes.
yeah.
I mean, shit, they're marketing a cologne induced with pheromones to attract women.
Right.
Does that have bacon in it?
No, it should.
Yeah.
Actually, if you
No.
want to attract a guy, the #1 scent in the world to wear is vanilla.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
I
didn't
do like
know that.
vanilla. In fact, we have a lady that who washes her hair with vanilla shampoo. I'm like, you smell amazing.
Smells good every time you see her.
It does.
Vanilla.
Like I look for on burgers.
Vanilla,
give her
and
a
if
hug.
you look at any fragrance across the world that's extremely popular, one of the bases in it is vanilla. One of the base notes is vanilla because it's a very attractive scent. And in men,
interesting.
for women, it's sandalwood. Sandalwood is a natural aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Like, what it smells like the woods. It
Write that
smells
down
like
real quick.
boating. It smells like being outside. Doesn't smell like grandma's mothballs in pharmaceutical cabinet,
Right.
which a lot of men's colognes that are extremely perfumey smell like.
Yes.
And you'll find a lot of women that aren't looking for a guy like that will like those smells, or they'll say, "Well, that kind of smells like a woman's smell." Well, that's because it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna buy Sarah bone and ribeye. Dab on the back. Seasoned
Vanilla.
With some vanilla.
1 year
Vanilla
Steak.
flavored barbecue sauce.
vanilla. How about it? Hold on. Bacon, steak, vanilla hair.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
Full meal.
Full meal.
Everybody wins.
Dessert on top of it.
There you go.
Carrie, I
Full meal.
love what you said though, because the thing is women do look for strong men,
Yep.
and only will weak men focus on women. The strong men are focused on their mission and what they're doing, and then they just wait for the women to be able to be attracted to them, because women will look for those strength and that those characteristics like in the woman. I'm glad that you agreed with the statement, because I don't know how much in culture women really understand this concept, right? Because you see all the time women posting things or writing about how like he always puts me first, or he always puts our family first, and I'm like, I bet he probably doesn't, because I know who that is, and like, no, he doesn't. And it's funny to me, and so it's good that we like have these conversations and bring these kinds of things out, because I think it's important for people to understand these kind of dynamics, especially when it comes to masculine and feminine, because our culture is just losing an idea of what these things look like, and it's an especially thing I want women to understand too. And so I wanted to ask you though, like as the other woman at the table, okay, so if the man is his mission and he's focused on his mission, and that's where he's spending the primary amounts of time, then how much time do you think you need in a day, a week, whatever it is, to feel fulfilled in the relationship? Because he's the mission, but you're the relationship. So how much time there?
Before she talks, I just want to
Was
confirm
someone
my wife
commenting?
did say that she's going to be putting on steak and bacon.
That's-
So.
all
Thanks,
right,
babe.
all right.
Thank you for always having my back.
She's like, just defrost.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah, sorry.
no gummies for you guys tonight.
No gummy, it's just bacon and the meat. Watch out, ears. Continue. I just had to share
How
that.
much time do you need? What do you
Okay,
think? What do
going
you
back
think?
to your comment on social media though, like
Yeah.
people posting about how their man puts
Yeah.
them first
First.
or whatever. I feel like whenever anybody posts on social media about that stuff, I call bullshit, because I think they're just posting it to make themselves feel better. Mm-hmm. It's like posting about your kid's birthday. Like, I don't understand it at all. They're not on social media. They won't ever see the post. Just stop. Anyway, so to be fulfilled, I feel like having kids, like I want time away from like just the two of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know that I need like a whole lot of time, because
Mm-hmm.
I know it is more attractive to me knowing that he's focusing on like his mission, which in my case is getting his journeyman's.
Mm-hmm.
So I want him to be studying for that, and I want to make sure that he passes that test, because
Yeah.
that just means more money in my pocket, or our pocket, I should say. But I mean, to equate a time, I guess maybe like an hour a day. Like, I don't know that I need that much time. Like I don't know, just my love language is quality time.
Okay, so you'll be able to, that's because I was gonna be like, do you really need an hour? I
Yeah.
don't know. I would challenge you on that. I
Yeah.
bet you don't even probably. I'm talking about like undivided attention, quality time, right?
Yeah.
Because like when the man's like really focused on the mission, you tend to not need as much time.
Right.
Versus like if his mission lacks clarity, and he's spending a ton of time with you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
No, I feel like because my love language is quality time, and
You require
my
extra.
last is physical touch.
Yeah.
So I feel like even just sitting, honest to God, sitting in the room together, even
Yeah.
if he is studying and I'm just, doing whatever I'm doing, that to me is quality time. Even if we're not really like talking, the presence of him and knowing that he is on his mission, is attractive to me.
Yeah.
So when I say an hour, yeah, it probably doesn't mean like undivided attention.
Staring at each other.
Yeah.
No.
That just gets weird. So probably less. Yeah, I'd say maybe like a couple hours a week. Yeah.
That'd be good, because that would equate to probably like one date night a week, which is
Yeah.
like relatively normal, or you break it up into like a couple like shorter segments and you know
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Just for fun, Sarah said that we're going to take a gummy and put bacon and steak in. And we're just going to see what happens. We're just going to go with it.
You're just going to see what happens.
See who wins.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
You're just gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, we're all going to win.
Yeah.
Why am I so full?
What happened to your ear?
I would agree with you 100% on that. Like me, you'll find a lot of men there. You'll find a lot of men's love language is actually personal touch, but it doesn't have to be constant. But it's what grounds them to their spouse a little bit. You know, it's a big deal. But I find a lot of women it's quality time. It's not so much personal touch. It's quality time, affirmations, because it's language based.
Yep.
And men is much more physical because that's just the nature. If you find a guy that writes down quality time but then doesn't put down physical touch, it's something's wrong there. Something's opposite there.
Yeah, I'm
not-
number
something's
one
not
touch.
working.
I agree.
Something's opposite there, but the physical touch for a man doesn't have to be a long period of time, hence sex.
Right.
You know, but the side of it is those characteristics carry over into how children are raised. They carry over into how the respect is there, and I think it's really neat that you can say that and come out and say, yeah, it's way different. I find him more attractive. I need less time than actually what I think I need, but it's him being in the room, his presence is what makes you feel comfortable with him. It's not sitting there all cuddled up talking about unicorns and rainbows and how the bed sheets feel.
Yeah.
You know, it's a total different situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like I find myself less he's not like a real gamer, but like every once in a while he'll go downstairs and play a video game and immediately I'm turned off. I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, because his T levels are going down when
Yeah.
he's doing that shit.
I'm like, no, don't do it. Just go study for your journeyman so we can pass the test.
You know, my wife is funny because I'm touched with a close second being deeds or no
Deeds.
quality time.
Doing
Quality
deeds?
time.
That's
Sarah's is
okay.
deeds. Sarah's is deeds like acts of. I think it's called acts of
Yeah.
service.
So is Julie's.
Oh, access to. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
All right,
So
all
it's
right.
funny. A gift will mean nothing to her. I mean, it actually she's got flatline when it comes to that. But her, it's acts of service, you know, quality time. But touch is like the very last one, which sucks. I got to give her roofies all the time. So, but was that out loud?
Right then.
Delete that part.
That's interesting.
No,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Travis, can you edit that? No, I'm just kidding.
most of the women that I've encountered, they like, you know, buy me shit, whatever that one is. That's why I've always said
Gifts.
love language sucks. This is bullshit.
Because they're not speaking yours. They're not speaking
Mine
yours.
is definitely not buy you anything, bitch. What are you talking about? Hell
What's
no.
your? What is yours?
Shit,
know?
I don't believe in love languages.
Oh, come on.
Because that person, that person who wrote that, their marriage was fucked twice. I don't give a shit what the fuck they think. I'm not gonna listen to this dumbass. And y'all sitting here listening to this dumbass
There's
shit.
a lot of truth to that.
I come from two parents who've been together 43 years. I know exactly what a love language is. It is get the fuck away from me sometimes, and it is stop talking to me about anything sometimes.
There's some fairness
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Although I am words of affirmation, so I like that.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Okay. that came from that person whose
I
words
bet-
of affirmation
I
didn't
bet
keep their
Kels
marriage
will
together.
give you some of them when he comes on the show.
He probably will.
He probably will. You gotta get him on. I got host that day. Hey, Kels. All right, well, we'll probably move on to our next one. But actually, before we do, if the men in the room, if you wouldn't mind, what is your mission? I feel like it's pretty relevant.
To hear the lamentations of women,
What?
crush our enemies.
You know what I mean, though? The core of the masculine is his mission. So it's like, what's everyone pursuing? It's a legit question, I think.
I honestly am to serve God and do my best to promote Doc in the Wellness Ways vision, because we are an awesome group of healthcare people that are just hungry to help people get healthy, because it's very obvious that our current healthcare system is broken and we have everything against us, but we're still killing it. It's because you can't kill truth fully. You can't. So it's my job to just help people get healthy. I was actually sick before I came here. I was sick I was, wide receiver, great shape in my 20s, and then, inflammation built up, and I'm giving my Wellness Way a little quick thing, but it's important. This is part of my mission. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, I got off all my medications through the Wellness Way. I've been off them now for going on 11 years now. I think for one, except for one. That one's like 8 years, but that was the Adderall, the big one. But my point is I'm healthy. I feel great. And why would I not want to help other people feel that way? How many people can you think of that are on more than one medication or even one medication, and they're not healthy. They are in their 20s, their 30s, and they look like they're going to be dead by 40. That's sad. That was me. That's my mission, to help people get healthy. And I don't care if it's from in the gym, get them in the wellness way, the spiritual health, to help them understand, their purpose, whatever it is. That's my mission.
Mm-hmm. You're living in your mission. Good job.
Thank you.
Skip, what's your mission?
Multifaceted.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm get my kids to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big mission of mine, to make sure that they have a very strong foundational truth in God and who He is, and in Jesus, and follow. Not to be a fanatic, but to live in their truth and understand that they're on both sides of the coin and understand people. But my mission currently right now is to provide longevity, health, and wellness to my kids, both financially, spiritually, and family wise. So it's creating generational wealth for my children, creating and foundational support for them for their to make them understand what work is, to understand what money is, to understand creating my kids' financial literacy, so they can hit the ground running when they're 18 and beforehand, and instill in them what it actually takes, the work it takes to be successful, and that every overnight success that they see has taken 15 to 20 years to get where they're at.
Right.
And to create that generational wealth is my mission right now with my kids. And that will change. That will change in 3 years. That will change in 5 years. My previous mission was to help every man, woman, and child, especially children, get checked and adjusted through chiropractic care. That was my original mission. That's what we built our office on for 15 years. But the mission has changed. The mission is still, the foundation is there to help as many children as I possibly can get healthy. But because of that mission, that allows me to then be on my next mission, which is provide as much generational wealth for my children as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's good. Renzo, what's your mission?
I believe my current mission currently is to find a wife so that I can have a beautiful daughter, my next mission would then be to have that young lady do the things that I do not have the ability to do, which is I would love to educate people as much as possible so that they think more critically. But I think it's her, not me. So to teach her to be a very, very powerful and a leader, and still be a feminine woman, still be a woman. And then my final mission would just be overall to spread, once my education is spread through this young little girl, it would be to spread love and have love to everyone. And then my final mission is addition. The addition of that parade that has to happen where only women with big breasts are allowed. That is the mission after everything is complete.
What's the purpose?
The big breast, big booty parade. That's what he wants.
What, you're going to have 2 Chainz marshal it then? What's the plan there? If you're going to have a big breast, big booty parade.
We talked about this 2 months ago.
It'll be all peace. We won't even have any problems. The issue is small-breasted women because they're physically retarded. So they don't.
Hey!
Yeah, me too.
Oh, man.
Dang.
This awkward moment's brought to you by I Disagree Podcast.
Oh, man.
Tune in next week.
I disagree.
That's fine. That is up for discussion. But that's my mission. My mission, no. Realistically, no. My mission is to have a family. I would love to have a child, but I would love to educate everybody to think critically, honestly, so that there could be more.
You need to do more of that. You have to do more.
And you're doing it.
You are a deep well. You are a very deep well.
And that's why you're here. All right. Second statement. We are moving on. Still related to men and women because that's just how I roll around here. All right. I'll say it twice again. Being a mom is not the hardest job in the world. Being a mom is not the hardest job in the world. Carrie.
I agree.
Oh, dang. I didn't know which way you were going to go.
Well, to a certain extent, but we'll get back to that.
Okay. Skip.
I'm writing this down.
Skip is in deep thought over there.
Well, I want to address the question.
He's writing down that big breasted parade.
Yeah,
That's what he was really making notes
He started
about.
writing right after that.
He's been brainstorming ever since.
Trying to figure out how he can sponsor it.
Man, I got it. We gotta get him.
I can sponsor
Yeah.
it.
Should we say the statement at the big breasted
That would be
parade?
a great direction, yes. I disagree with that.
Okay. Renzo.
I disagree.
Travis.
I agree.
Awesome. Carrie, go ahead.
So I only agree because of the wording. I don't think being a mom is a job. Because I feel like when I go to my job, and I know that you've talked about this on this podcast before, but I don't necessarily like get as much fulfillment out of my job as I do being a mom. I'm literally taking these little people and I'm raising them to be in my liking, I guess, and raising them to change the world, right? So that I get a lot of fulfillment out of, and I'm learning a lot being a mom and getting fulfillment out of that as well. So I only agree because of the wording.
Okay. Skip.
Well, it's a heavy question. I don't.
Right.
I think being a mother is probably the hardest job in the world because you have to wear multiple hats. Moms have to know when to provide guidance, when to provide love, when to provide discipline, and do it all under the context of love, and try to raise both men and women in both gender roles, and try to portray on both sides of the coin what it's like to be dominant at times, what it's like to be able to lead at times in the house, and then also what it's like to submit's the wrong word. It's just what came in my mind. I actually don't like the word submit at all. I think that's bullshit. But to be able to get into her feminine as well in front of her children and be comfortable with that. But also, I think the dynamic is that it's hard because if you're in a single mom household and you don't have a husband or a man around, you have to take on both roles. And that's what makes it incredibly difficult. You know, being a mother is a connotation of a lot. When you say mom, hands down, most people, even everybody listening, if I just say mother, you generally don't think of anything negative. You actually almost always will think of love. Almost always. And it'll be warm. Now, if I say, if I change that to stepmom, probably a cold feeling. You're not replaceable. You give birth to your children. You brought them into this world. You have a job and a duty to raise that child. And that's what makes it extremely difficult, because no matter what happens, you don't have time to just step away, disengage, not be a mom. And if you do, it will come back and bite you in the ass at some point. It always will, if you disengage. I think it's incredibly hard. I also think that being a dad is extremely hard too. Because you have different hats. You have different things that you have to do. You have to teach. You want to raise your daughter to be the most you want to raise your daughter to be comfortable in herself, give her self-worth. Make her see who she is, and as beautiful as she is, and strong and intelligent, and that she can speak her mind, and that she can also learn to listen to people. But a mom's role is opposite, where she has to take her son, teach her daughter love and affection, but then also take her son and help him realize who his self-worth and dominance comes from. Is from the mom. It's not from the dad. We've talked about this before. And it's a hard job. Yeah.
Who did I go to last time?
You went to me first. Last time.
To quote George Bush, being president is hard. That's what he ran on his second term.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a hard job. I just remember that shit when he was running. Sorry.
Do me or him go?
Yeah. Larry, go ahead. I feel like I went to him last time.
Him, you, me,
I don't
him.
remember. I was going to do the same order, and I didn't remember what order I went in, so it doesn't really matter.
I said I disagree with the statement only because I think that today being a mother is much, much harder than, it's getting harder and harder to be a mother simply because of how society is putting so much pressure on women and taking away their ability to actually be mothers who give love and give discipline and can be honest with their kids, because society is now saying those things are not acceptable in motherhood. And I think that women have it, I mean, especially mothers. Like, men are getting a huge pass. A lot of fathers don't have to be in their life. It's becoming the norm that you don't have a father. So it's almost like, well, that's fine. But with a lot of mothers, it is becoming very difficult to raise your kids and for them to become successes, or even become what you would like for them to be, or what you envision them to be, simply because you have social media that's telling you how to be a mother. Then you have television that's telling you how to be a mother. Then you are at risk of teachers not liking something that you told your child. So we're going to call CPS because you're not being a good mother. And so then these things kind of reinforce negative ideas in your head that maybe I'm not a good mother. I know a young lady, she has 2 kids. Her 2 kids are fine. They're girls. They're doing fine. She always thinks that she's a terrible mother because one of her daughters is sassy. I said, she's a little girl. You'd be better off her being sassy than being assy. You know what I'm saying? So at least she's just got sass all the time. That's a lot better than her. She could be something else. And her other daughter, well, she's not motivated. I said, she's 15. What do you want her to do? What do you want her to get motivated and do? What would you like for her to get motivated? Then you need to be that example. Maybe what you're seeing is that you're not motivated, so your kids are not motivated. I said, that doesn't make you a bad mother and your kids are terrible kids. But she's hearing this. She goes on the internet and she sees where women are doing the whole social media thing. And they're face fucking and saying how, oh my God, look at how great I am on Facebook. And then they're instant grinding and shit and saying, hey, look at me, I'm grinding on you fucking thing. Look. And so look at my kids. And it's like, these aren't even your kids, bitch. You don't know whose children those are. And then all of this is just nonsense. And so women, I think today that yes, a mother does have it a lot harder than probably fathers. And it is a hard job today for women because society is putting a lot of pressure on them to be what society is saying is a good mother, which is actually a bad mother. It's not a good one at all.
It's a good one. Travis.
Give the statement one more time.
Being a mom is not the hardest job in the world.
Here's why I agree with that statement. I'm going to look at the camera when I do this. Mom, I love you. You are an amazing mother, and I wouldn't ask for another one. And I say that because I believe that the man has the hardest job. I just do. I think that you can go from the practical standpoint. You can go, I mean, who builds bridges? You know, who we obviously got female, brain surgeons too, I'm sure. But my point is, man does a lot of good things. We don't have a good, healthy society without a mom. But I will argue that that's not even a 100% accurate statement either, because there's been recent evidence to prove and research to prove, and I don't have it in front of me. So you're just going to have to look it up yourself. Go look it up yourself, everyone. Men who are single raising children, there's a much different drop-off than if a single mother's raising a kid. In fact, the man can sustain a house that has only a father.
It's a better outcome.
And it's nothing to do with the woman sucking. It's just there's something that a man provides from the long term that helps sustain that child in the most important parts of his life. Do we need women? Absolutely. We wouldn't be here without you. Thank you, Mom, and all the moms out there. Thank you. Don't get offended. Just know your role. You are the Scottie Pippen to the Michael Jordan. That's okay. You both get the ring. Okay, so relax. Stop dick measuring. You don't have one to begin with, FYI. So, well, maybe some of you do. That's a whole other conversation. But my point is, look, you got a role. Play it. Stop making it us versus you. It ain't that. You got a role. You nurture. You raise the children up real good. And when daddy comes home, he's got to do his part too. But his role never ends. Okay? I'm sorry. I love my mom. I love my mom so much. But I went to my dad. When I got hair in my nuts, guess who I talked to? Not mom. I went to dad. I went to him for all the things. He taught me life lessons. He taught me how to be stoic. He taught me how to pray, how to teach my kids how to pray, how to raise Christ into our house. He taught me that. My mom supported all of it. Key word, support, not leading. Okay, I'm sorry. But back in the day, if something's going bad in the family, I want Michael Jordan, dad, to have the ball against the Utah Jazz, game 6. You know where I'm going with this, right? I want him to have the ball, not mom. I want him making the tough decisions because he's the same dad Monday through Sunday. Mom, she's got other stuff to worry about, hormones, all these things. Women have their different side issues going on. That's why I think a man is just the consistency, the ability to be stoic, plays the long game, is the much more healthy parent to have if you have to have one. There's my rant.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and with this, just to be clear, I'm not saying that being a mom isn't a hard job. I am a mom. I do know that it's hard, but we've gotten to this like, oh, being a mom is the hardest job in the world, and like everybody kind of has to agree with it, right? Because it's propping up women, so you have to agree with it. And so when you really step back and peel some of it back, it's like, well, but is it? Because like I think about it, and I'm like, all right, if I think about my household, would I? Because I obviously want the easier job, right? So would I want to trade places with my husband? Would I want to go do his job? Would I want the burden of handling all the money? Would I want the burden of having to worry to provide everything for the house? Would I want all the burdens that are inside of his head? I don't even probably know what most of them are, but I know that I don't want them. And I know moms have burdens inside their head too. I know because I live it every day, but I don't think it's the same. First of all, it's apples and oranges because it's male and female. He wouldn't want to switch places with me either. But I think that, I don't really know that the statement of saying, being a mom is the hardest job in the world is something that we need to be perpetuating as hard as we are, right? Because I pick on women a lot, you guys. I really do. And I call out a lot of the stuff that I think is going on here. And I just think, if I were saying that, also, I mean, I don't know, to any of the men out there, isn't that kind of like insulting as you go out and you bust your ass for your family all day and then you come home and you find out that her job was just harder this whole entire time? Isn't that just like a little bit insulting? And, I was thinking about this too, and I'm like, you know what women are really good at? Women are really good at making up problems. I mean, everybody's good at making up problems because life is like way too cushy and comfortable, but women are really good at making up problems. And this started to kind of feel like, I wonder if this statement, the idea behind it, is this just like a made up problem because things have gotten so great in culture that now we have to complain about the thing that we were literally created to do. We were literally put on earth to be able to have babies, and now we're complaining about that.
But Dana, I need different couch pillows.
Look, I got a list of things here. I mean, just like think about it. Think about like the things in motherhood and everything that we all try to do to make it easier. Not easy. Motherhood's not easy, and that's not what I'm saying. But think about all the things that have been invented and that people put together just to try to make things easier. I mean, we have disposable diapers now. You don't have to worry about cloth diapers. Cloth diapers are great, but like you can even get these disposable inserts that you can just throw away to make that easier. And there's dry cleaning services for your cloth diapers if that's the route that you want to go down. There's wipes that are pre-made for you. You don't even have to do that on your own. There's spray-on butt cream because God forbid you ever touch a butt, I guess. I don't know. There are vibrating baby seats out there. I mean, think about how cush you gotta be to have a vibrating baby seat because, the baby likes the motion and stuff. I mean, the joke's really on everybody who buys one of those because babies like to be held. They don't want to be sitting in a vibrating baby seat. But don't worry. If your baby wants to be held, that's what you have like ergos and wraps and all of those kinds of things for, right? We have spray and conditioner that we can use. We have like my favorite one that people use out there is the thermometer because you can just like point that at someone's head and get a temperature or put it under the armpit and like get the temperature because it's way too hard to do this. Mm-hmm. I could go on a whole rant about fevers and how like you're the mom, so you know if they have a fever or not. You don't actually need to be like taking a temperature. That's not medical advice, by the way. And you can Google anything that you ever want, which is great and also very dangerous at the same time. But it's also great because you can get this insane amount of information and you can connect with all these other moms. And so I'm not saying that being a mom is hard. I'm saying, what are we really doing with this statement? Is it really the hardest job that's out there? I would never trade places with what Doc does. What he does is insane in building all of this and the people he deals with and the emotions that he has to deal with and all the fires that he has to put out every day, building what he has here. Like, that is far harder than what my job is as a mom. I'm just saying, and that's not to say that men are better than women or that women are better than men, right? We're looking at the statement. We're talking about what it looks like in culture.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I feel like, this is a question. Do you feel like you're talking about the exceptions nowadays, though? Because not the majority of men are not like Doc. Like, I pretty much run my household. And I'm not saying I'm a feminist, because I definitely am not. I just had to take that role because my husband just is not good with finances. Or, it's not that he's not good with finances, but that's what I do for a living, right? So, like, he just feels more comfortable with me doing it, and I understand that. And I have a job that I can work from home. So, like, when we have an issue like we did today where we had sewer gas in our house, like, I had to work from home to deal with that. He had to go to work because he works a manual labor job. And if he's not there, we don't get paid.
Right.
So I feel like nowadays, because of the feminist, movement, we've taken on a lot of the roles that the men should be taking on. And it's more convenient for me to do it, or I have more knowledge in it. So I've just done that, and it's super stressful for me because now I'm a mom, which I don't consider a job. I consider that I had children for a reason, and I will raise them, and I don't think that's an 8-to-5 job for me. It's a 24/7. I love doing it. Is it stressful? Yes. It is. But I've also taken on all these other things. So I think... and you can disagree with me, but I feel like nowadays the exception is a Doc. And
Doc himself just is an exception, but I don't know that, is it really an exception that the man is still the leader of the house and the breadwinner and stuff? I mean, yeah, we do talk in culture a lot about, the woman becoming more masculine and everything. And that is like taking over a lot. And it's everything I talked about with the cats before too, but...
Yes, it is the exception.
You think so?
Yes, because the statistics show that the majority of the households in America do not have men in them. They're single-parent households. So, yes, that is the exception. The majority of what is happening is women are having to raise children by themselves. Most of these women are having, 2 to 3, and they're trying to raise them by themselves. And this man is either fighting to get his kids, not fighting to be a part of his kid's life. When he does get his kids, he's too busy bad-mouthing her, or he is totally like, I'm just fulfilling my obligation for the court. So a lot of these men are not even there, like whether they're physically there or not, they're not really there. So the woman is taking on more of the role of everything now. I'm the financier. I'm the 100% breadwinner. I'm the person who keeps the lawn together. I'm the person who has to make sure that the hot water boiler heater is fixed when it's broken. I'm the person who has to go to the school when this little piece of shit is messing up. I'm the person who has to cook. I'm the chauffeur for everybody. So yes, it in a sense, being a mother, like I said, today is a lot harder. Now Donna Reed, that motherfucker had it simple, right? She makes some foods, dress up real nice. And I loved Donna Reed as a kid. When I saw her, I said, that's the kind of white woman I want right there. She was always dressed up real nice, pearls. She was always ready to go. And her husband would come, he'd say, baby, I have a problem at work. And she'd say, oh, you should probably do this. He'd say, shh, I should probably do this. She'd say, oh, you're so smart. And I'm like, Donna Reed, this is the kind of woman we all need right here. He took your idea. And she still was like, it was always your idea. And then at night, they're in the bed together. And then you know it's about to go down because he's like, you gave me that idea earlier. I'm not going to tell you did. And then he thanks her and he kisses her and they do the thing all over again the next day. Donna Reed had it easy.
You know what?
But these women today don't because that man isn't there.
So then the hardest job today is cultivating a successful and thriving relationship.
You know what? That is the hardest job today, is cultivating a thriving relationship with another human being. I'm pretty sure you can have it with a dog, even with a fish.
I'm not a support animal person.
I'm just saying.
I don't really
There's
agree.
tons of people,
I don't really agree with that.
There's tons of people who are having great relationships with dogs. And
I love you, George. But I'll tell you what, I got to say this. If I said that the stats show that a man can lead a home better by himself versus a single woman. With that being said, we do have a society full of single women who are trying to make it. Maybe had a slip up. That's why you're pregnant to begin with, whatever. And you're trying. So for those who are trying and not just relying on the government, I want to give you your props.
Yeah.
You do have an uphill battle. In fact, for a man, I would say it's an uphill battle. For a woman who's single, trying to raise kids, it is a mountain to climb. I'm not discounting that. I'm not discounting anybody, even though they're probably already offended from my original. But you guys have a purpose. And there's times where even Pippen had to step up, right? You know, when Jordan was having foul trouble or injuries, whatever. My point is, you know what? You really... Okay, you know what? This sounds too good. I'm just going to shut up. Let's go.
But he's being a little bitch now, isn't he? He's complaining a lot about that man. Typical of a whammon. Just
you
want to
know why? You want to know why?
Just what they would do.
Maybe because the contract you had of 10 years, $18 million, it must have ran out because you didn't listen to anybody else back in the early 90s.
You know who he didn't listen to?
His agent and everybody else.
And Michael Jordan.
Yep.
The man.
Yep. Who made it what every year? 50 million a year, something like that. I mean, that was the 90s. That's unprecedented, you know. The man, the head of the house, right?
Oh man.
But I'll just to circle back, just want to say, all you moms out there who are in the circumstances you're in, keep grinding. They do turn 18 eventually.
But they
come back.
That don't mean they leave.
Don't worry, they'll stay in your basement all day in no time.
Yeah.
Just give them a PlayStation.
No, please don't.
I think also to completely dovetail off your point was, you know, when dad is involved in a divorce separated situation, what I find is that dad still doesn't want to take on his role when he has the kids.
Yep.
He just wants to be cool dad. He doesn't give a crap about what the mom asks. Mm-hmm. He doesn't give a crap about nutrition. He doesn't give a crap about the structures that she's trying to lay down. When bottom line is, as parents, if you've chosen to bring life to the earth, your number one obligation is to take care of that life and to work together, whether you're together or not. Because the life that you brought into this world, that's your kid, that's 50% you and 50% her, you have an obligation. And to just sit there, this frustrates me because I see this a lot. And if Dr. Julie, my wife, is watching this, she's probably going to want to strangle me because I'm saying stuff that I don't talk about in our practice. But people are actually going to know where my thoughts are on a lot of this. I can't stand it when I see dads that don't respect the mom. Yeah. And I can't stand it when I see a mom that doesn't respect the dad when they're not together. Yeah. Where, well, he does it this way and I do it my way. But that kid then is confused as hell and doesn't know what to do. So they're lost. So you see this massive separation, even when you've brought this child into the world and you don't agree anymore and you're not together and the love's not there and you've chosen to part ways and separate. And there's a lot of folds to that blanket. There's a lot. There's two sides to every story with that. But the children are the key. And they'll say like, well, the children suffer in divorce. They do because nobody's on the same damn page. Right. If you would just realize that you still got to be on the same page. You know, if Julie and I were to separate, and if she came to me and said, hey, I really want the kids' nutrition this way, I'm an educated man too. And I would say probably 90% of the stuff we agree on. And there's little odds and ends we don't. But I would respect that, so we would have something the same in both lanes. All these dads out there, they just want to be cool dad, fun dad, but what they want to be is Xbox dad. Because they're Xbox single dad when they're at home. Nobody's around, they're playing Xbox, they're probably living in their parents' house, or they're close to their parents, taking out fast food. I take care of so many males that have fathered children that they're not with their spouses anymore. And I've had guys literally say, like, yeah, man, I just sit at home, chill out, and play video games. I'm like, you do? And you got 2 kids, so what do you do when you get them? I get them on the weekends. What do you do on the weekends? We play a lot of video games. I'm like, that does nothing for them. So you're just overstimulating them. And then, but on the other side of the coin, I also see a great deal of dads that are active, good dads. But the spouse is the opposite. So the mom's doing this stuff too, pushing back. But she's like, I don't do that. I've had being in practice for 16 years and dealing with so many people when it comes to healthcare, because healthcare is a very polarizing thing at times, especially when you're divorced. I've had parents bring the spouse, the divorced spouse, to the appointments just to prove them wrong in front of my face. As an argument played out in front of me when I'm so concerned about the child's health, yet they're having a spat because they can't get on the same damn page, but for 5 minutes they were, which created a life.
Right.
So why can't we work together? You know, like, and that the dad has to step up, and so does the mom. But being cool dad is very, very popular.
Yeah.
Very popular.
It's easy.
And it's easy, and that's not okay. So what does that do then to your spouse, to your ex? And that's where I try to get these dads, when I talk to them, I was like, you want to know why she's mad at you all the time? Because, one, you can't say that you don't listen to her, but the thing is that you don't respect what she's trying to do. Therefore, she's pissed. Because she's trying to put together something when she comes back, or you're doing the same. We're like, she always gets this at mom's place. Well, have a discussion about it.
Right.
Maybe the kid don't need a period.
Right.
Maybe they just need a football, a basketball, and a baseball and need to get their asses outside and play.
Right.
Preach it.
You know? Or walk in the woods. Show them nature. Shit, have a walk downtown. Show them the other side of how people live.
Yeah.
And learn.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Carrie, I wanted to go back to what you said, because you kind of started out with saying that you didn't think being mom was a job. Why don't you talk about that? I mean, I agree. I agree with that. That is part of what I would say too. I think that minimizes, what it actually is, as if it's something that you just that you could quit, or that you just mark your tasks off, and you're missing that whole emotional, spiritual, type of thing.
Well, and I think that's the problem with that statement, right? And we've driven it over and over and over in people's heads, and now they think it's something they can quit. I don't know. When I chose to be a mom, when my husband and I decided to have kids, it just wasn't a thing in my head that, when I have kids, this is gonna be a job to me. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I just get so much fulfillment out of raising these little kids the way that I want to raise them, in a healthy way, eating right. Does my husband always agree with me? No, we don't. And that's a problem, right? I'm learning from this discussion. But I don't see it as an 8 to 5 job. It's a 24/7. I enjoy it. Most of the time it's stressful. I'm not going to lie. But I don't see it, the word job to me isn't that's a mom, right? A job is a job. I go to a job to make money. I don't go to be a mom to make money. I go to be a mom to get fulfillment out of my life and in raising these kids. And I want them to change the world, right? Because I hate the way the world is. So I'm raising them a certain way, and I get fulfillment out of that.
Right.
Well, I don't think that many women feel that way about their kids either. I think a lot of these young people today are having kids because they are an accessory. They're like a little handbag, right? You got,
or it's just something you do.
It's right. It's something, and it's a tax write-off. It's a government.
Joke's on you. Kids
So
are
in a sense, it is a job for those people, because they're getting paid for these babies, right? They keep bringing them into the world. The government keeps paying them. It is a job, right? They're basically a human factory.
Yeah.
So they're just pumping out these babies, and they don't care what happens to them. If they become criminals, okay, well, that's the choice you made. If they become scholars, that is also the choice that I made for you, because of course I did that. I was the best parent on the planet. When you are the best person, I'm the best parent on the planet.
Right.
But the criminal, those were all his decisions. At 3, when he was doing things, that was his choice. And that's what I think a lot of these people feel like. It's not on me, it's on them. And so you have a lot of women who don't feel like that. I mean, there are tons of Caucasian women who are having babies with black and Mexican men because the babies are beautiful. They don't give a fuck what happens to this child. That baby is beautiful. That is a beautiful looking baby.
You could show it off.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
On their Facebook.
Look at this
and
little
their
brown
Instagram.
baby with these blue eyes. Oh my God, you so beautiful. And then they grow up to be a heathen.
Or if they're not cute, they don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah. Or if they grow up, if they're born and they have a learning disability, or they have some kind of developmental disability, now they want to act as if I want to shun this one, or this one is not as important, or I don't focus my attention on this one as much as that one. Like how I see parents who have autistic children, and it seems as though there is an extra focus on autistic children. And I always tell people, when they get mad at me, I'm like, well, I used to work with the MR demographic. It's not MR. It's not MR. I said, that's what it says in their fucking charts. Shut the fuck up. You don't argue with the doctor when he says you got diabetes. You don't say it's insulin deficient. Motherfucker gets in the chart. So I'm serious.
Holy crap.
So when you have, and I said, what I used to notice is that a lot of autistic kids, very severely autistic children, if you can find what they are really good at, right, they will focus on that. And if you harness that, you'll get much, much more out of them than you will if you're trying to force them into something that you want them to do.
Right. I
had a young guy, and I worked at a group home, and I was the director. And I had a young guy, he was 22, very aggressive, at an age where he wanted to play with himself all the time. The one thing that I realized about him, I was like, well, you're 22. And I had this conversation with him just like this. I said, you're 22. I know he's severely autistic. I said, you're 22, you like titties. He said, ugh. I said, okay, I'm gonna get you some videos, but you gotta do me a favor. Don't hit the women. And then he said, he was looking like, oh, I was like, I'm not playing with you. If you hit the women, I'm taking your breast away. I'm taking all your porn away. And he was like, oh, it was like the reasoning came over him like, hey, bro, hold on, guy. That's not fair. Like, he wanted to say that to me, but he didn't. However, the one thing that he knew, and we had this understanding, and I realized this young man respects me. Probably one, because I'm a man. But two, it was the way my conversation was with him. And what I've noticed when I see a lot of these parents, it's like they're coddling these children. So even these children who are not severely autistic, like this was a very, I am telling you, the women would go into the room, they turn off his TV, he'd punch them. He'd punch them in the back of the head. Leave my TV on. And I would tell him, why are you touching his TV? Well, it's on. He's watching porn. Let him. He grown. He's 22. Let him watch what he wants to watch. Stop turning off his TV. And so, and it's like these parents, though, they're coddling them. So it's like if they're not autistic, they're going to be invalid because they're not going to be able to be adults. They're not, they just because they are mildly autistic or moderately autistic doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to function in society. They can function better than some of these other goddamn people who not autistic. Mm-hmm. It's people sitting around who not autistic. They actually need to be in the goddamn home. They need to be in the insane asylum right now. Something is wrong with them.
I think that comes, you hit on a couple things there, and in childhood development is a big thing for me. I take care of a lot of autistic children, a lot of MR kids. We've just constantly changed the diagnosis to, it just goes trash can to trash can, is what happens, right? But you hit on something, and it's not coddling your children. I have countless people that come up to me. My daughter turned 16 in May. My son just turned 13. You've been able to have an adult conversation with my daughter since she was 5. You've been able to have adult conversation with my son since he could talk and was 3. Why? Because I talk to him like he's an adult. Mm-hmm. Yes. He's around people all the time. Mm-hmm. Do I have now? I'm an infant. My certification is in babies and kids. So I see a lot of babies. Do I baby talk to babies? Hell yes, I do. Yeah, but not to ones that are 1 and they need direction. Right. And I'm talking to them, and I ain't afraid to. Dr. Skip can bust out his dad voice pretty quick. If you're gonna hurt yourself, it's like, dude, get off the table. Don't jump. Right. And I'll have parents look at me and be like, wow, I don't want your kid to get hurt. So either you say something or I'm going to, because I don't want them to get hurt. I want them to know that this can hurt them. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing. I see a lot of autistic kids, and what I ask when they're in, biggest thing with autistic children is, 1, you have to ask their permission and have an agreement. Right. The agreement is key. You break the agreement, that's right, they're done. But that's in any human culture. It's just that because we have a forward brain development, which is what the issue is. It's a prefrontal cortex issue. I'm not going to geek out on you, but I could, and this would be a fun conversation for me. Okay, but this frontal brain development is the key. Yeah. Because we have a frontal lobe development that's mature and we can handle our internal thoughts, they just can't. Right. If somebody breaks trust with you or with you or with you or with you, you're done with them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You just don't say it to their face. Right. They will. Or they'll punch you. Right. Or because it's just they're
doing what we think.
Yes, they're acting out and doing what they think. Right. We are harnessing that thought when I want to probably be really pissed at you. But I'm just going to sit here and bite my tongue and be like, I'm just done. But that's different. So once you have an agreement, done deal. Right. See this autistic kid? Comes in, he's a sweet little boy. He will stem out when he's in the office because he's excited. People get a little worried because he'll hit his head. He has a callus built in and one on his side. He'll grab rubber things and just pound his side. He deals with lower back dysfunction and neck dysfunction. Subluxations are key with him. But he comes in. He walks back when I'm busy taking care of people, and he'll look at me, and I'll look at him and say, hey, bud, now's not your time. And he's like, okay. And he keeps hitting himself and walks off. But then when he comes back and there's a gap and I see him lay down, I'll look at him and say, I'll use his name. I'm not going to use it here. I'll say, you ready to get adjusted? Yes. Cool, let's go. And every time I place my hands on him, hey, man, I'm going to put my hands here. You ready? Yup. You ready? Yup. You ready? No. I don't do anything. I'm like, cool. You're not ready for that? That's fine. We just keep our agreements. But it's talking to him like he's an adult.
Right.
And, hey, dude, roll on your back. You ready to do that? No. Okay. Tell me when you're ready. You ready now? Yup. I didn't make him roll over. I don't make him do stuff. But it's like that with anyone.
Yeah.
You don't like to be made to do shit. But you can keep it here. They can't.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's really good.
It's
That's
the
really
key.
good. Yeah, and that's like really good, like doctor, like client insight and stuff
Yeah,
too. You know?
absolutely.
That's
You
really
just
fun.
ask permission. If I was in your space, Dana, and I put my hands on you without asking your permission, you would be
be like-
extremely uncomfortable. You would be too. If I went
a little bit.
yeah, I mean, if I I'm a hugging
Yeah.
person. I like to hug people. But I also know when a man goes to shake my hand, I'm not going in to hug it out.
Right.
But if I see a dude open his arm up, I know he's
Yep.
a hugger. So I'll say, hey, man, how's it going? But it's usually after the first interaction. But if I don't ask your permission, serious issue on all fronts. And it comes down to children, too. Just ask them.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting how that works. If you're a politician, right, and you're on the campaign trail, you don't have to ask anyone's permission to hug them or touch them. I know that. I know that.
Or sniff them.
Or sniff their head.
It's completely fine.
You can just touch whoever you want. You
Yeah.
can touch them without their permission.
And then they don't wash themselves for like 5 days because they're so happy about it.
I almost lost my water right there, man. I knew right where you're going with that. You smell like you're 13.
I mean,
It's a deep smell, too.
I tried that.
It's like bacon and sandalwood.
I tried that in the mall once. I was just walking up to women going like, I was just seeing what they would do. I mean, I'm an attractive
Come
man. I
on.
figured it was okay. What's going to happen?
You're not
What
an
do you
old
think,
white man. It's not okay.
What do you think Poopy Pants
It
is saying to
was
them?
actually because a couple of the 70-year-old women were like, "What are you smelling?" And I was like, "I'm smelling you," and they were like, "Oh, you can, okay, keep
What
it
do you
up,
Cougars.
keep it up."
What do you think Vice President Joe Biden's singing to them or saying to them when he is sniffing them? He always talks to them. He puts his hand like this.
Call him vice
I
president.
think
Just
he's just,
smile.
you know what? I think he's an old school politician. He's just doing what old school politicians do. They're very hands on.
You don't think he's singing
It's
like,
creepy.
I wanna kiss you?
You know what I think? I think
Over
that's
and over
become. I
again.
think that today people have made that into a creepy thing, but it's not. Andrew Cuomo did it. Mayor Daley did it in Chicago. It's just something that it connected you with the public. It was something that people did. I'm gonna shake your hand. I'm gonna bring guys in, have real close conversations with them. I mean, in Chicago, like that was something I saw in politics all the time. Like it was just very commonplace. You go to the plumber's hall, those guys are all in each other's face talking, but it's camaraderie. And it's like, you put your hand on a woman's back. Look, women always were kissing on me. I was always getting kissed on, 90-year-old women, 40-year-old women. Just everybody is just kissing on the cheek, all lipstick all on me. You would have thought I was in an orgy the way I looked when I left out some of them parties. My suit's all messed up. It's a good thing I was dating women who understood, oh, you're in politics, but I could have easily screwed the world and got away with it, and just said, oh, I was at a political event. That's not it,
I think there's some
man.
that do. I think that, and that's another thing too, is when we look at neurology and development of humans, is senility is a huge thing. And a lot of the times as people get older, when they regress in brain health, they regress back to a formal version of themselves that their brain was comfortable with. And if you look at politicians that are extremely touchy-feely as they're older, and the thing is like, there's a lot of really old politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot that are old as hell.
Yeah.
And they have a certain way of doing things, and you're not going to change that. And the thing is as public's perceived. Now, some of it, in my mind, I'm like, all right, bro, like, either you're, there's a lot of things being said about this said president. And some of it has to do, too, like, people don't hold space for either. This guy's a grandfather. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a grandfather. He's used to having small kids around him. Now, whether or not he's a pedophile or whatever people want to say about him, and if he is, serious problems here. But if he's just a typical granddad, he's used to picking kids up. He's used to smelling them. Yep. He's used to touching their faces and rubbing their shoulders and kind of giving them that grandpa hug that kind of makes kids uncomfortable at times. Yeah. The extra long, like, you probably shouldn't rub that long anymore. Like, but you have to understand the age. This dude ain't 50.
Right.
Like, he's 80.
Right.
So he's lived 2 of my lifetimes already. 2 of them. Stuff was different 60 years ago in his head. And as you progress in senility, your brain will regress back to certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's just perceived as normal to him. Or it's not. If it's not, there's a problem. Like, he's doing it to get his rocks off. Total different situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I don't.
But
I don't
you have
think
to
that's the
understand
case.
both sides of the coin. Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing it because he's trying to show us. Ooh, I can.
I think he'd stop if he did.
Yeah, because there's too many cameras on him.
Yeah, he'd be closeted about it.
Yeah.
But then again, you see the other guy do it, Trump. They're going to make a massive issue out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But again, same age.
Well, Trump can look at somebody and say, look at what he's looking at. His eyes were laser sharp focused on that person there.
Orange man
and
there.
And they happen to be BIPOC and Transformer. Robot in disguise.
The other thing, though, is... Sorry, Dana, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so do you think that when people get older and then their brains are reverting back, is that why old people like Werther's candies so much? Because it's caramel from childhood?
Like those candies?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all nostalgia. So you look at somebody that has like dementia.
It's like, they have pockets full of Werther's candies like all the time.
I'm going to have pockets full of Jolly
They
Ranchers.
do, yeah.
Jolly Ranchers.
Well, yeah, when we get to a new generation, there's going to be probably a new candy that takes
Jolly
over.
Ranchers.
I miss original
Starburst.
mac and
But
cheese.
Skittles or something.
That'll fit my pocket though.
Sour Patch Kids will make it in there. Not for
Milk
like,
duds.
Milk-
Like, why
milk
is my
dud- oh,
pocket
man.
always soaked though? I don't understand this. They regress back. Like they've been doing a podcast for 2 hours. They're like, what the hell? So like the thing is though is that they regress back. So if you look at people with Alzheimer's, dementia, anything like that, it's not that they don't forget old events. They forget it's short-term, present-day memory loss that they deal with. Mm-hmm. And so they still have memories of their childhood. They still have. There's a reason why Charleston Chew still sells. There's a reason why Good and Plenty still sell. Mm-hmm. Because the older generation wants that. It brings back nostalgia. Yeah. It brings back a time of clarity. It brings back a time of peace, confidence, feeling good. It's the same thing with us. Shit, man, you were just talking about Shredder and the Ninja Turtles. Why? Because you're 40. I'm 41. Like, it takes me back to being a kid and the times that I loved and the times that I liked and, like, the thought process and coming back into it. And, like, it's just the way the brain works.
Right.
Shit, am I the oldest one here?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, you are.
Why does he like ice cream so goddamn much? Because he ate a lot of ice cream when he was a kid. He's probably a fat kid. Right. The way that he talks about how in shape he was in college and whooping people's asses and punching pony boys in the face and like he
and
was
hanging
probably
with corn pop.
Yeah, he was probably a fat kid when he was really little. Like I get that. Why does he like ice cream so much? It's what his treat was. That was his reward. Like, so you gotta, like, you can look at that, or you can take an actual educated view on who these people are. Or you can step back, like 90% of the people, and just look at it and say, he's a freak. Or he's an idiot. Or he's a womanizer and a misogynist.
It's so easy to do that today, though.
Right.
It's so easy. It's just like how this whole situation that's going on now in the comedic community, where people are listening to Cat Williams say things like, if you are a black actor, they want to put you in a dress so they can degrade you. And then I have to ask African Americans, so they didn't want to degrade any white people, huh? And they're like, nah, they don't never want to degrade them. So they didn't degrade Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie, huh? They didn't degrade him. That queer looking guy in Rocky horror picture show. He was like, yeah.
Robin Williams and Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah, Robin Williams and Miss Doubtfire. So they Patrick Swayze and Tu Wong Fu.
Yep.
So they were exclusively looking to get Wesley Snipes. They said, "Oh, it's great that white guys in the dress, that Mexicans in the dress, but we need the black. It's not complete
Are you in?
until we get the black."
And then they get the most dark.
Yeah, the
dude
darkest
possible.
right, the darkest black
Wesley
guy, and then they can
Snipes
find at
ever.
the time we're gonna get
And just
you.
get you in a dress.
All right. Hold on.
You.
I
are
got
the
an idea.
one.
I got an
You're
idea.
the one.
You're gonna be a transformer when you host. All right, for Black History Month. All
You
right.
have to.
A transformer.
But hold on. But you can't even talk about blacks because you'll be transformed to something else.
I will be transformed into something else.
He'll still be black. He'll just
Yeah.
transform other things.
But wait. Did you vote for Biden?
Oh, you want me to transform into a Democrat?
No. Did you vote for Biden?
No.
Well, then you ain't black.
Oh, that is what he said.
Yeah.
And he
See, there's
he knows what blackness is.
There's a whole nother thing to that too, in that political political stunt that he said he was told to say that. Number one, number two, because he put it in at the end of that interview because he forgot it and he quick said it, and then whatever the god that fool is, that he's been blown up into what that gentleman is too. He has his own TV show.
Oh,
now.
the radio host. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, another thing is like it's just to cause controversy, polarization, and to get people thinking, right? And the side of it is though is again another person that's completely controlled.
Right.
Yep.
100%. Don't take problem with this comment, but they all have a handler.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody is handling what they're saying. Somebody is paying them. And to get real conversation like this, when this isn't paid for, when nobody is handling us, this is what you really get. Because behind closed doors, when you see these, I guarantee you they are not the same as they are in public.
Right.
No,
right.
absolutely
I've
not.
often told people that I've known people who are very close to Barack Obama. I've met him a couple of times. He's a guy who any Republican would have a drink with him. They'd go out with him. They'd have a conversation with him. They would think this is the most charismatic, coolest guy because he's cool. He's a chill guy. As a president, his job, he sucked. He was a bad president. I don't think he's a bad person because he did bad. The manager of McDonald's could suck. Man, you run the worst McDonald's ever. The top meat is not at the top, bro. These double quarter pounders taste like crap. What are you doing? Your fries are always soggy. What's wrong with your place? But
It's like Doug at Festival.
oh my God, like
Dougie Doug Doug.
That's right. But
Doug.
But let me just say it. I might like Doug, right? I may meet Doug. Still haven't met Doug's ass. But I might meet Doug, and Doug and I may actually get along. The same way how I'm sure the manager of McDonald's, he sucks at his job, but he probably is like the most awesome guy you have ever met in your life. He is probably like the coolest guy. That's how it is with Barack Obama. Terrible president, really nice guy. There it is.
That's how it
There it
works.
is.
Yeah, and you're right. They all have a handler. Somebody is calling the shots. I have a handler too. It's Doja Cat.
Do you?
Doja Cat.
I didn't. She thought I wasn't going to tell anybody, but it's Doja Cat.
It's Doja Cat. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's awesome. Well, this was an interesting conversation and not anywhere that I thought it would go, but that's
fun
totally
tonight.
fun. I was even trying to figure, I'm like, how do I put this into like a bow and bring it back in?
I
I'm
know.
like, I got nothing. I've been thinking about it. I can tell you've been thinking
I've
about
been trying
how
to
do we
think
bring
about
this
a
back?
final
And I'm like,
thought here.
I got nothing. I'm like, do I say like a mom acts like a handler? Do I say like how do I bring this back in? I'm like, I got
gotta
nothing.
take
So this
everything
is
that was said.
so this is
You got to say Doja Cat sometimes acts like she's a little autistic, but we will not focus on her autistic behavior. But yet we will still ask Doja Cat for the authority to do things with her. And hopefully someday Doja Cat will be a really good mom who will be able to raise really good children because it can be a very hard job.
Well, there you go. There's a segue. And there's our little bow.
There's his
Wait,
final
you did,
thought.
Yeah,
Politics.
you did it. You did it for me. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I guess that's why you're
Yeah.
here.
Came back to that.
Oh man, getting back to
Who
all
you-
that. So let's do our final thoughts though with that.
Who you gotta
Anything
pick
that
on?
you anything that you didn't say, anything that you want to say, anything that you want to wrap up with or leave anybody with, anything that you got. Carrie, why don't you go ahead?
Ladies
Oh my
first.
gosh. Can I go last? You go first.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
No, I thought the conversation was incredibly stimulating as usual. It's nice to get different people from all walks in here.
Yeah.
I think the questions were designed to stimulate thought on women and men and gender roles and specifics and where you like to take conversations, which is very important to talk about.
Right.
I thought that the parade sounds very interesting. This sounds like really
Tickets coming soon.
Yeah, it's coming soon. It's free. For real. It's free. But on top of it all, it just boils down to taking a step back and starting to look at people as humans. Knowing that we all are flawed. We all have issues. But also understanding where people come from. I think a lot of people take everyone for face value right now instead of really understanding who the person is, and that comes back to creating relationships, and that's what this does. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carrie.
I would just add that I think I learned a lot. I came in here with some pretty strong thoughts on both statements, and I feel like although I didn't really sway my decision either way, I did learn a lot. So yeah,
It's always the goal. Conversation and knowing people and talking and bringing people together is the goal of the whole
Yeah.
entire thing. So
yeah.
we're glad you're here.
Listening to the other side, and maybe you still have the same perspective, but at least you think about other things. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Renzo.
Well, it's always fun, so I appreciate you guys having me as many weeks as you've had me, and make sure you guys go and check out old episodes of Random Things You Need to Know. And I already wrapped it all up, so I don't
You
have
already
much
did.
of anything else to say.
Good.
So,
Good.
there you go.
You did wrap it up for me.
I think these two statements really can be summarized in I'm going to go back to basketball. Men are Jordan, women are Pippen. And I'm going to tell you something. Not either one of them, neither of them won a championship without the other. So the man might be the dominant one. He's bred that way. That's okay. Does not make women retarded or stupid or flawed. It makes a woman a woman. Okay, so we need to be okay with a man leading the house, being the captain, being the team leader, whatever you want to use, and we got to be okay with a woman being very close, 1A in Scottie Pippen. And I love basketball. I love sports. We need to embrace that because you need both to win championships. And even then, a man and a wife that have a healthy marriage and all the good things, there's no guarantee that they're going to make it. But it is the best situation to be in to make it. And we have to believe that. We've done things for thousands of years, and again, we all sin and fall short of God's glory. But my point is, if you set yourself up for a much better situation by being married, understanding your role in the marriage and in the parenting process, and understanding that each person brings something to the table and embrace it. And from there, just don't listen to the damn news because it's perverting everything we're trying to do. All I want to do is live, raise my kids up to serve God, work hard, be part of the solution, not be part of the problem, and spread that and inspire people to want the same thing. Now people are inspiring to go shit in a kitty litter box in the local high school. I mean, I haven't tried it once, but I can't imagine it being very fun. Where's the toilet paper? I mean, do I put a little gravel on my butt and how's that going to feel in the morning? My point is this, aspire to be something better than what society's telling you right now, right? Get out of the damn litter box. Get back to the Jordan Pippen. They won championships. You can too. Just stop listening to the damn news because it's screwing you over.
Nice. Well, I'm so glad that all you guys came here tonight and took time out of a Tuesday night. I say this on a lot of the podcasts that when I'm, have my final thoughts that, this isn't just a podcast. This is a plan to affect culture for decades and decades and centuries and generations from now, because it doesn't matter, what side of the aisle that you're on, whether you're on the Republican or Democrat side. I mean, I always say, I'm like, those are not the two teams. There are two teams out there, but they're not Republican and Democrat. They are we the people versus them the tyrants. And the way that we really affect and change culture, regardless of what our societal beliefs are coming to the table and having a voice and getting to say it and letting other people listen to it. And you never know who you're touching with the words that you're saying. So I'm always just so grateful for the people who come here and sit with us. And I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella, and I talk about that all the time. And his tagline is always that personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do here too. We're trying to foster really high value Americans. We're trying to get their men to have their 3 M's together, their mind, muscle, and money. And we're trying to get women to have their 3 S's together. They're sexy, supportive, and serene, because then we can create high value people, high value men that are for their mission, and women who are for their relationship, and moms and dads and kids and grandparents and everybody. And so that's just, thanks for helping us, really reach our goal. Thanks for everybody who has been listening tonight. We are so glad that you guys were here to hang out with us tonight. Again, please make sure that you are commenting, liking, and subscribing, and sharing the show with everybody you know. And Doc, we miss you tonight, and we can't wait till you're back. Have a good Tuesday night, everyone.